So good news is got my computer a day early. So I installed pretty much everything and made sure the driver was working for my tablet. Oh my gosh, it took a while for that. For some reason, I installed the wrong driver. Okay. Alright, so like the broadcast is, I have some stuff to mention in the beginning. So this is... Alright, this is to just show how I prepare my model for 3D printing. I'm just going to do a small little sample of it. Another thing I want to mention is that I thought some people mentioned a new way of getting the models or some kind of exclusive item, something. So I've thought about having a Patreon, but my normal default thing to do is have a store, Etsy and eBay, where I sell my figures printed already or ready, ready to have, rather than have to print it yourself, cleaned up and everything. But I was also thinking if anything, maybe like digital-wise, if you want to print your own. I'm very hesitant on releasing my models digitally, just because people can abuse them, in the sense that people can always just release it somewhere and it's just bad. I already had an issue with a model which I didn't intentionally meant to give out for free, but someone took it and they just abused it. It could be tweaked, and I just don't like that. So I usually like to go with the default. So I was thinking maybe something with Patreon, or also, sorry, before I get too much into that, but also was thinking about, what was it? Oh yeah, Twitch. Now with Twitch, sometimes I don't want to broadcast too much on YouTube. I might want to go ahead and go on Twitch and go into the clicking creative for the category and just kind of just broadcast whatever, and I'll just upload onto YouTube later, maybe sped up. But yeah, that's kind of some of my ideas. If you have any suggestions, if that's something that you might be interested in, like in terms of that, or maybe I should just do this where I'll make a model, I'll print it, I'll make a mold of it, and I'll cast it. And I'll just go ahead and give that to maybe a Patreon, or just anyone that's interested in buying. It's kind of tough to say, but just leave a comment and like the size of the piece, or if that sounds a good idea, or you have a suggestion, go ahead and leave that in a comment. So I'm just gonna get to this now here. So I'm pretty sure my mic is working. Yeah, it's good. All right, so. Alright, just had to make sure, because my other computer, it just wouldn't work. I had to turn the speakers and I had to have the audio go through the speakers for it to pick up, which was ridiculous. Alright, so this is the Aang model right here. He's gonna be posed on his air scooter. It's pretty much complete at this point. Not complete, I haven't posed it yet. I will be posing it later. You remember, you can skip the broadcast to just show what my process is. I'm just gonna do something a little simpler. I deleted certain subtools, which resulted in me getting this right here. He doesn't have a body or air scooter. I'm pretty much going to make a bust. A sculpture that's a bust, is essentially a statue that consists of head and shoulders. And also it could be the chest as well. So I just kind of simplified it to that. So it looks great so far, I like it. I tweaked it a little bit, got it ready for this. So right now, it's in several little subtool pieces right now. Alright, there it goes. Let's make sure perspective is on. Yeah, good, dynamic perspective. Alright, so if I go ahead and split it, there's an exposed option right here. It's kind of creepy, scary looking, right? So these are the pieces it is. These are the mini subtools I have it in. Alright. This is not what I want. I can essentially probably export it, and the slicer can figure it out and still print it. I can even select certain resolutions for it, which I haven't tested yet. I plan on testing it. So there's that. Let me go ahead and bring that back together again. See, looks great when it's in one piece. Oh, hold on, I gotta refresh my my tab here. There it goes. All right, so right here. So the issue is just want to hide that right there. All right, cool. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start combining these. Merging them, okay? So what I essentially want to do is this. So I'm going to take a subtool here. I'm going to go ahead and get append a cube. This is important because I need a 3D print cube, I'll call it, or a dimension cube. It's just to help establish the boundaries of it, so it can easily, it has the software has an easier time processing the dimensions of the piece. I can adjust it if I want to. All right, so if I want to, I go to append. I want to append a cube. I need 2 cubes. One cube is, so this is gonna be a bust piece of head and shoulder sculpts. Where the heck did that cube go? Oh, there it is. Alright, I'm going to enlarge this right here. So essentially, this is for the, like, the sake of it being a bust. I'm just going to have it be about right here. Yeah, that's fine. I want to actually tilt at a slight angle. Do I? No. I don't want to make it too crazy. What I'm planning on doing with this is I plan on, if anyone buys anything from me, I want to include as a little sample, like a thank you. Like, it's going to be a little piece, maybe about 2 inches tall, maybe 1.5 inches or so, 2 inches. Just kind of like a thank you for purchasing from me. This is a little sample of a future project, that kind of stuff. Alright, so I got that. So what I can do is I could just cut it right here. However, the issue with that is if I go back here. Also, you can always leave comments or suggestions of what you want to see on the channel. If you want to see me do a little sample of traditional again, I don't want to go too crazy into it. It's quite messy, and I like doing a lot of stuff inside my house, or inside the house, living quarters. And the clay gets messy, and there's carpet. It's not good. This is so much cleaner and easier to set up. Alright, so got that. Let me just make sure it's set to 45. Okay, good. Alright, so the issue with this is that this fabric is really thin. So it's going to have all this space here. It's going to take longer with printing time. Also, I want the head to be separate. Because can you imagine this nightmare here? Look at this. See this nightmare of this overhang right here? It's going to have all the support material right here. I'm going to have to clean that out from right there. So I'm going to have the head separate, which is ideal for painting, you know, if I ever want to do a kit. Right there. So let's see the pieces one more time. These are the pieces I'm working with. Right there. So I'm going to have to go, see, you can see here, there are different sub-tools, I suppose. I should get, nah, it's fine. It should be fine. Yeah. So I'm going to have to polygroup this right here. So let's go ahead and bring that back. I'm hoping I could finish up this in like less than an hour. Like get it ready for 3D printing, and I'll print it. Another thing is I want to mention about my 3D printer. The one I usually use for time lapse still isn't up and running yet. Still there's still an issue with it, which is unfortunate. I really wanted to upload more time lapse, so I'll just upload the one I have, which sucks. Okay, so let's see. So geometry right now I have it dynamically subdivided, which I could just cancel that. So it looks like this right now. Looks pretty bad, but when it's so cool. It's like, oh my gosh, it looks terrible, and then boom, clean. All right. So what I need to do is, oh, they are different. No way. Oh, that's cool. Just make sure it's an obvious color. There. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually shrink this in. So I'm going to go to the BZM. I'm just going to close this off so there's not all this space, so it's faster for my 3D printer to print. All right, so to do that, I go to a Z Modeler tool. I go to Q Mesh. I'm just going to, whoa, that's not it. I want to go ahead and make sure I do polygroup all. I just want to kind of close it. I'm not looking for cleanliness at all. Just kind of have a kind of overlap. Will it work? Oh, I can't. See, that's a problem right there. Okay, forget that. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do dynamic. So some things don't work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to accept this. I'm going to apply that right there. Then I'm going to take this here. This is another thing I do. All right. All right, and what I do is I shrink it down. So I move this to the center of the unmasked area, and then I shrink it down like this. All right. So the cool thing is it creates this point still, which is something I'm probably going to do for the original model. So after I do that, now this will be completely cut off now. So if I go like this, as you can see, it cut a lot of that space away. There's not going to be all that severe kind of, well, this is the main overhang, but this is much better in the sense, just because the model will be much stronger. And if I want to 3D print it, it'd be a lot easier for me to do so because I'll cut this off and there'll be no space in between, so there won't be any issues with the print. All right, so let's go ahead and turn that off right there. Let's go ahead and divide this again to make it a little cleaner. Perfect. Now the thing is, I want to make this head separate. Before I do that, something's bothering me right here. All right, so this is an issue right here. I need to smooth this out. I'm gonna hide this here. I'm gonna make this, I guess, a shirt. So I'm gonna have it connect. I'm gonna make a key from the neck here, so I could print the head separately, so I don't have to worry about all this overhang attaching to the collar, which is going to be a nightmare. All right, so that looks pretty good right there. Hold on. All right, so the thing that bothers me too, these are supposed to be two things, separate things of fabric. So I'm going to go with the standard brush here to make it kind of a little more obvious of the division of the clothing. I hope this isn't boring. I hope you guys are taking something from this. But as I said before, leave a comment if you want to see me do something different or something else. With my computer up and going, I could return back to other projects I was working on, finish some commissions, because my other computer would just kind of die out on me. It was not fun. So I just need to make this a little more obvious, the division, separation right here. I want people to know this is a separate piece of cloth. I think that's fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'll probably cut his head off, and what I mean by that is, let's go ahead and see this right here. So this is the body subtool. This looks pretty good right here. So this is good because what's going to happen, I'm going to use this to subtract away from the head right here, which then the head here will be printed separately, but I want to make sure that it has a key, a peg essentially to plug into the body. So there's less cleanup, and if I ever want to paint it later, it'd be easier for me to paint rather than have to kind of reach around the collar, which is going to be a nightmare. Oh, I'm still not up to what Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the lower, because when you're doing the merging of the subtools and then you dynamesh them, you don't want to have any subdivision levels. If you have a subdivision level, what's going to happen is it's going to retain only the lowest subdivision, and when you combine them, it's going to look weird because it's going to be very low resolution. So it's not a good idea to have that. I'm going to go to the dynamesh option. I'm just going to go ahead and dynamesh is probably your best friend when it comes to what is it called? To making sure it's watertight. So what I'm going to do is, let's go ahead and see what's going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and it's kind of lower the resolution a bit. However, the issue is now the edges aren't so sharp. So the higher the dynamesh option is, the better the results, but the more points there are. So that's looking pretty good right there. Now if I look at it here so see, this is before, this is after. So as you can see, the topology is not as clean, not as easy to kind of adjust or tweak. It's very dense. It's kind of a nightmare. I would probably re-dynamesh it or ZBrush it. Alright, so pop right there. So let's see. And I don't mind that. Like, that won't pop up in the print. It looks pretty smooth. I just want to go ahead and just kind of smooth this up a little bit, remove a lot of these little polygons, make it a little cleaner. Get rid of this polygon kind of mess right here, because what happens is the Dynamesh option kind of like what is it, meshes? What's the term for it? Kind of creates a exact duplicate. So if there's a lot of creasing and stuff like that, we'll keep that crease if it's a high enough resolution. So I'm just gonna go ahead and, is that what I want? No, that's not what I want. Sorry, I'm trying to. I'm trying to bring this a little higher here, because I'm not happy with the separation. Just trying to pop it up a little bit, so when I use the BDS, the Damien brush, that's what the damn standard brush means. So when I carve into it, it'll create more of a crease here, or the separation of the clothing. That's a little better, so it's a little more obvious. Sorry, I'm just trying to. The rest of it will be pretty quick, you'll see. It's just the fine tuning for the particular kind of size or type of statue you're trying to work on. Okay. That's fine. That won't pop up too much. That's fine. Just kind of an obvious kind of whoop, dips in kind of deal. All right. So now let's go ahead and move on. Forget all that nonsense. I'm going to go ahead and merge these two. The best way to merge them is to go over here. Now, remember, first thing you have to check on is to make sure there's no subdivision. As you can see here on the right, it says 2SDiv. That means subdivision, delete lower. I'm going to actually divide that and then delete lower, so it's a little smoother now. Let's go ahead and merge now. If I go over to the subtool option here, if I go to this here, oh, what the heck? Oh, the heads are, oh, the head. That's not what I want. Hold on. All right, so this is another option. This is another thing right here. As you can see here, the head and the body is already connected. This is kind of what I want, at the same time not. So what I want to do is I want to duplicate this. Wait, do I want to duplicate? Oh no, what am I talking about? I'm crazy. Don't listen to me. I'm crazy. All right. All right. Let's delete that. Originally I thought it didn't have the other things, but it's fine. Let's delete that. Okay. All right. So okay, cool. So okay, what I was saying was this. Yeah, it's fine. All right. So what I need to do is I need to take the shirt here. All right, that's what I need. Okay, the shirt and the collar. So these three right here: the shirt, the collar, and the shoulder thing he has. All right, so I'm starting with this one. Let's make sure. I'm pretty sure I have no subdivision anymore. Good. I want to merge that. Let's go ahead and merge. Take this here, merge down. Okay, that's fine. I can always separate if I wanted to. Let's see right here. I'm going to merge down. Okay. Boom. Now, if I was to separate, expose it, as you can see here now, it's only 4 subtools. All right. Now, the issue though with this subtool is that, let's go ahead and put it back together, is that it's still divided. It's not what I want. All right. So best way to fix that is, guess what it is? It's Dynamesh. Dynamesh will fuse any overlapping geometry and make it watertight. So going to here, I go to my Dynamesh right here, and then I go ahead and click this side right there. Boom, right there. As you can see, if you look really close, now they're not combined, and then click it, and now it is. All right, let's go ahead and smooth the collar out a bit right here. Make it a little nice right here. It's like ironing it out, kind of. So as you can see here along the collar, I'm trying to make it a little smooth right there. Perfect. Right there. Now, it is now watertight. All right. Oops. If I wanted to, this I could print the head right now, but that's not what I do. If you can look here, I got this little section right here, okay? This is what I'll use to subtract away from the head to make a nice cutoff, a nice point. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go here. I want to put this, now it's important when you do any kind of subtraction booleans, you got to make sure it's underneath what you're subtracting from, so it could be used to as a, like a knife. All right, I go to this right here. All right, I make sure both are visible without this dynamic option on. Wait, did I? Hold on. I don't think, another thing is when you're doing this, make sure you also fuse the layers. There's a layer tab here. Find the, oh, here it is. Now the cool thing about this layer tab here is I use it to draw these lines on the figure here. All right. So right here, as you can see, I can make it disappear, make it come out, or make it even. All right. Or I can make it even more severe. So this tool, the little slider here, does that. I can make it more severe, or I could even have it pop out a lot more. All right, so let's go ahead and go back. Now this is pretty important to make sure you have a certain amount, because this is being printed at such a small size that you do have to emphasize certain details. So I am actually going to emphasize that a bit. Probably to that point, because I need to bake this on. So the thing about a 3D printer is that you got to understand like its capabilities and how much it actually lessens the details, because the nozzle is a circle and not, it's not like it's jagged, it's not like a sharp point. So it kind of, it softens any sharp edges or corners. So I think that should be fine. I'm gonna go ahead and bake that on. Before I do that, save as. File. I'm saving this as a separate one, so if something happens, I can always go back to it later. All right, perfect. All right, so I'm gonna bake this. Also, I added a little crease to his nose, so I can mess with that if I want. That's fine. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to go ahead and bake all. Now these are permanently on there, and that means I have to now go to geometry and do the lower subdivisions. All right, there, perfect. Now let's go ahead and subtract. For this to work, I have to make sure this is on. And now as you can see here, it's cut a perfect section where it can pretty much rest on the body now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and make a boolean, so a boolean right here, make boolean mesh right here, boom. Take a little bit. Now the cool thing about this computer or the software is that it relies usually on the CPU as opposed to a graphics card, but I went too far and just went graphics card and CPU. Doesn't hurt. So boom right there. Now I have to append it, so that means I have to go ahead and go to the side here in the subtools. I click append, boom, that's back up. I go here. Now I have to, now if I want to, not if I want to, but now let's go ahead and do the expose again. Now as you can see here, the head, it's a perfectly cut off and matches right there. So let's go ahead and go back, oops, let's go back here. See, it can go right on there. It's perfectly smooth. Let's go to transparent right here. As you can see, it fits on top of that perfectly. So now it's the next part. The cool thing about that function I mentioned earlier is that it gives its own poly group, which is the nice thing about it is that I can now take that, extract it out, which is pretty important. So you'll see. Because it allows me to do this. Watch. I take this here, I point this, I could point this downwards. What I could do, I could pull this out, and I could flatten it. Now I created a peg. So this can actually essentially fit into the body after I slice it again. I do the same process. I subtract from the body this time, so the head goes under the body subtool, and I can subtract it. The cool thing also about this is I can actually narrow it like this so that I don't have to worry about having such a tight tolerance, I suppose. I don't like this part though. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to undo all that I did. I'm actually going to go to this here. I'm going to do that there. I'm going to pull this. Not as clean or nice looking. I still don't like the fact that these little lines are still there. It still work. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. Let's go back. Oh, whatever. I could always polish that out. I guess for the sake of this, I think I'll just leave it like this instead of tapering it. Because if I taper it like this, it has less point of contact to the print bed. If I'm printing it decently small or like a size, that might be a little annoying to have it remain to the print bed. So I won't do it too much. I'll do it a little bit, like that much. It's not much, and I'll just kind of polish that a bit, I guess. All right. However, what happened here to his neck? There it goes. Fixed. What? Oh, I don't have symmetry on. There it goes. All right. Let's go ahead and now Dynamesh. So remember Dynamesh again. Let's see right here. No, it's gotta go pretty high resolution, so we gotta go like that. That looks pretty good right there. All right. Smooth this out a little bit. Maybe move this up. To just kind of alright, just kind of smooth this out a bit here. There it goes. Alright, so now what I need to do is I need to do something called inflate and subtract. So inflate, I just call it, it's a process, a stage I call, okay? Now what happens when you make a key, when you 3D print it, there's a slight tolerance. You need to provide a certain amount of clearance for it to fit snug. So, what time is it? I'm gonna have to take a quick break here. Crud. And I'll play some music while I'm gone, I guess. It's gonna be for about 5 to 10 minutes. Alright, let's go ahead and pop the eyes back on. There it goes. Looks pretty good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna subtract the neck, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate the body here. Nothing's touching it, right? Yeah, okay, cool. That's perfect. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I am gonna cut. I'm gonna duplicate the body. Duplicate. Oh, I had the wrong thing. No, that's right. No, that's right. Okay, cool. Alright, so I'm going to take this here. I'm going to cut the head off. I just want this part alone. I want this neck here, so I'm going to delete the hidden. Delete hidden, close holes. There, this is all I need. It's much easier to cut and process for the computer, which it wouldn't bother my computer, but sometimes it's better to keep things simple. So it takes a lot of work to just do the simplest things. I don't need this subtool anymore, so I'm going to delete this. Right there. So with this here, I'm going to turn this into the subtraction boolean. So what I need to do is I need to inflate this piece a bit so that when I subtract away from it, it will allow enough clearance for the 3D printed part to fit with the other. So to do that, I need to go to my deformation, and inflate is probably your best friend when it comes to that. So if I go to here, oops, let's go ahead and hide the face, the head. Let's hide this. That's scary. Alright, so right here. So as you see, there's separation right there. So I've got to do my deformation tab right here. I go to inflate. Let's say I do 5. Let's see what that does. That might be a little too, that might be actually perfect. As you can see here, the piece inflates. So before, after. So now what I need to do is I need to look far away as if it's actual size. I just have to play back and forth with it to see if that's the right size. It might be smarter for me to have maybe a ruler next to it. The problem is it's really hard to tell what the actual size of the piece is, which can always be calibrated later on when you prepare the print for 3D printing. However, there is a certain size already established by it, but you can change those dimensions when you try to prepare it. I'm going to assume it's about this big here. That's a good amount of size. That's quite a significant amount of. That might be too much. I'm going to stick with that. What the heck? I'm going to stick with that. Okay. File, save as arms. I was trying to save. I save in different steps. Just kind of like if I wanted to change something, I want to make it a little larger, I can always go back and then fix it. Alright, now I'll go ahead and subtract it. So go back to the subtool, click the subtraction option right there, click it. And as you can see here, it cut out a nice little slot right here for it. I'm not too concerned about that. It's going to be annoying, isn't it? Oh, you'll do something about it now. That's fine for now. Okay. That's fine. All right. So what I'll go ahead and do, hold on, sorry. It's flat, right, still? Oh, it's good. Okay, cool. So as you can see here, it's perfect. See, that's going to be the cutout. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to accept the boolean, make boolean mesh. It is, as you see here at the top, it says unit remeshing in progress. Press escape key to abort. It's not there anymore. That means it's complete. Go to append. And boom. I got the body now with a piece. Oh, I should have subtracted the other part. It's fine. So now what I'm going to do is I got that. What was I going to do? I don't need this piece anymore. I don't need that. I got that there. Now these two pieces fit together perfectly now. I'm going to go ahead and now combine the facial features. Oh, let's turn the live bluing off. Time to merge down, as I said earlier. Merge down. Sure. Merge down. Oh wait, I didn't have the subtools. No, I don't think so. All right, so let's go ahead and sure. Boom. Now that's good right there. Now it's not one subtool yet, so or not. It is one. It's in one subtool, but it's not one piece yet. Not watertight. It's not all one model. To do that, you know, yep, that's right. I have to go ahead to Dynamesh. Dynamesh here. Just click this here, and then, whoops. That should have fused. I'm not happy with that. There's too much. That's better. It's a little sharper. Actually, before I do that, I'm not happy with the ears. You want to make them a little sharper. You just want to make it a little more realistic. Not too realistic, but just enough. That's better. Oh, okay. All right, now I can go ahead and Dynamesh. I didn't put it up to 500. There it is. There it goes. Now I got that. See, this is how it would be printed. So the cool thing about it is, I can just actually keep this way. I can just paste it on stuff on my. If I want to ever pose them differently and want to like, oh hey, I want this expression. Boom. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's that easy. It wouldn't look right in terms of how the neck is cranked and stuff like that, depending on the pose. This is just an example right here. Alright, so it's almost done. This is good. This is good. Right here. Potentially I don't need this anymore. So before I do anything else, let's save. There it goes. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to start deleting. Delete. So I don't need. There it goes. So I got my two pieces here now. Right here. My two pieces. Alright, so this fits perfectly now. Alright, so the next thing I'm left to do now is to this whole gig is to cut this body portion. I could essentially print it like this. It's fine. I could print it if I want to. However, one thing is that it has too many active points. That's way too much. I have to do something called decimation, or to decimate it so there's less points, but still retains detail, but it's a nightmare to sculpt on. That's why it's only safe for 3D printing reasons. Alright. Yeah, see, it's over 1 million points. There's no way. That would be terrible for a slicer to process. Alright, for 3D printing, a nightmare. So, let me see what else. So before I do that, I'm going to take this cube here. Alright, So essentially these are going to be like little sample pieces. So I'm just going to cut it off right here. So I'm going to do the same thing. You know what it is. It's the process of subtraction. So click that right there. Click light boolean. And boom. I have what a remaining result would be. So, and it's cool thing about it is perfectly flat. It will be able to stand up on its own. All right. So let's go ahead and think about how big this is going to be printed. It's going to be printed about 2 inches, 3 inches. It's like a little thank you, a little sneak peek for a future piece I'm finishing up for Aang, for anyone that buys my stuff. So the Ira one just probably finished printing just now. So let's go ahead and actually hide this. Go to the boolean option on the side here. Make boolean mesh. Boom. Now I go here to the append. Bring that in. Delete this. I'm gonna use this cube for something else. It's something called a bounding box. It's for the 3D printing parts. If I want to set the units for what I want to be 3D printed. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this box here. I'm gonna put it over it. Turn transparency on. Now, when you're doing this, it's important that you keep the model dark with transparency on, so you can see the model. Now, I gotta make sure I move it to the point where it touches the model. There you go. It's not going through the model; it's touching the very tip of it, so that it will get the accurate measurement. A box is very easy to find the dimension of compared to something that has a regular surface. I think that is perfect. Yep, that's good right there. Let's go ahead and get the bottom now. it's a cool little feature where it keeps it perfectly level, perfectly flat, kind of trims away at it. There's a lot of effort to be able to make a nice 3D printable object. Like you could just kind of get away with certain things if you want. It just doesn't. It's not the same though. Like, oops. Oh, I need to zoom up. I don't want any part of it kind of sneaking out. Alright, that's good. Alright, so now I have the bounding box complete. I want to rename these parts now, just so when I export it, I know what each of them are. Rename Aang head. Right here, Aang shoulders. Boom. Alright, cool. I got that taken care of. Now I have to do something called decimating, so to just give you an idea what it is. Let's go ahead and see the subdivision of this. So as you can see here, click this here, it's very dense. Alright. That's not what you want. It's going to be a nightmare for the slicer. So I'm going to do something called, if I go to this here, I'm going to actually bring that over. There's a decimation master right here. It's important that you select this. Alright, pre-process current. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it, it's pretty high amount of points. I'm going to turn it to 10% decimation. I want only 10% of the points there with to keep the details. So I'm going to go ahead and accept that right there. That's pre-process current. It's analyzing it right now. This is doing a lot faster than my other computer. It is a better processor, so the better the processor, the faster it'll be able to process. And dang, yep, that would have taken my computer probably 3 times longer. Now I do nothing, no change yet until you click decimate current. Boom. Less points, but if you look at this here, oops, it still retains its details. Wait, it's still here, right? I didn't mess it up, did I? Yeah, there it goes. See, look, see the points are all, it's all decimated. And look at this. Look how many points it is now. Only 60,000 compared to the 600,000 points. That's perfect. Now go to the body here. As you can see here, it's 170,000. Let's go ahead and do the same thing. Let's make it 10%. Pre-processed current. It's analyzing, Boom. Oh, that's so nice. So fast. Okay. So now I need to do decimate current. Boom. Look at that. It's only 17,000. Total points now, 78,000 compared to... Didn't we start off originally with like 1,000,000 points or something? Earlier, like at the very beginning. Oops. This is perfect. Now I can go ahead and export. Actually, not export just yet. I go to 3D Print Hub on the left here. After clicking that, I go... I have to... Now this is important. This is very important, okay? Now when you're doing this process right here, make sure you have the bounding box clicked as the active subtool. You can still have transparent on and everything, but make sure you have this. This is where it measures when you click update size ratios on the left here. Now it gives you options of what you want the bounding box to be initially by default. These are the actual sizes based on the program's spatial dimensions. You can always tweak it, which I'll show you in a bit. I like the idea having it maybe 2 inches by 2 inches by 1.4 inches. I'll click that. Alright, now it's important when you export this, you want it in millimeters, okay? A lot of slicing software, pretty much all the slicing software by default goes by millimeters, okay? So this is 2 inches, yeah, that's fine. We'll do that. Alright, click millimeters, boom, right there. Oh, hold on, 1 moment. Boom, we got that right there. So, is my mic back on? Yeah, it is, okay. Got that ready. So right now, it's about 60 millimeters by 56 by 36-ish. Alright, millimeters. So now you can export. Now when you do this export option, make sure you export to STL. Okay, you can do OBJ, but STL is like the easier one. At the same time, people can't really tweak your mod because the default stuff is, let's see. Oh. Alright, there it goes. Alright, I got that. So it's very important that you click export to STL. I have the options right here, the export options, to do all, export to separate files. Okay, those are the two things I have. So it exports everything I have here in the subtool option, but make sure when you click this option, you have the bounding box as the active and selected tool. Because what happens is it bases these dimensions on that and then compares all the other subtools to that starting subtool or that selected subtool you have when you click that button. So exports, new folder, Aang bust sample piece. So I'm just trying to get the, probably can't see this. Alright, use the subtool name as a file. I click that because whatever name I have here, I want it obviously to stay the same. And boom. Alright, let me go ahead and try this now, okay? Maybe... I forgot I should have probably had my other program open. Hold on one moment. Hold on. Hold on, I'm trying to... Let me see if I can add source here real quick. If my broadcast stops, because that means it crashed, I'm going to do a screen capture and do a smart selection. Oh, there it goes, it works. I love the update that they did with this. Alright, cool. So this is what it looks like. So this is what it looks like when you bring it in. I just imported it. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and prepare it right there. This is the slicer. I use Simplify 3D. It's one, I like the slicer a lot. I want to make that gap too big. Otherwise his head's going to wobble around. I could always fix that. It's pretty easy. Alright. So boom. This is how I would essentially prepare it. Side to side, see? So it looks kind of funny, but it will fit in perfectly. If I wanted to, I can show you what it looked like. There should be an option where I could go ahead and align model selected origins. Oh, well, that's not right. Never mind, forget that. Don't mind that. Oh, the reason why is because it's been flipped. If I was to undo this, right here, and then click that option, it will show you to the origins of it. There, see? Alright, now let me go ahead and do that. Select the surface. Boom. Boom, right there. Center and arrange. Alright, and this is what my process here on the side are. So what I like to do is when I 3D print something, I like to make sure that I keep my first layer as a 0.3 millimeter so that it gives me plenty of allowance, I guess I'll call it. 0.3, I have it stop at 0.3. Then I have it print afterwards. In this case, I think I'll just get rid of this here. Let's remove this one. Advance. Let's not stop printing. Let's keep it going. We'll keep it printing at 0.15. All right, there. Then if I click prepare to print, select all processes, click. And boom, right here. As you can see here, it generated support material. But as you can see here, the software is not perfect. If you look really close, you look at the ear right here, that's an overhang. That's bad. That's a no-no. Meaning that the software failed to notice that's an overhang and did not give me support, which means this ear is going to be a mess. So that means I have to go back. It's very important that you preview your thing. So I'm going to go to this here. Now the cool thing about this is there's no support material on this. It saves plenty of time. That's what I always try to do when I try to slice my models, is to reduce the support material, which is less cleanup afterwards. So I need to go to here, click that, generate automatic supports. As you can see, still didn't detect it. Add new support structures. It's kind of right here. Right here. For the ear, let's just make sure it's correct. Let's move this to the side right here. Now the nose kind of has an overhang. I'm gonna just add this. It doesn't extend the print time too long. Let's just make sure. That's perfect. Just adding a little extra, it's not going to extend the print time. Maybe another minute or two, depending on this type of support material overall. All right, now let's go ahead and say done. Let's try that again. All right. Now, the cool thing about this software is that I'm not too sure if Cure does it as well, but it gives me the option to have supporter info printed every 1 or 2 layers. So if I really wanted to, due to the size of this piece, I might want to have it printed at 0.1. 0.1 instead of 0.15. That will increase the print time by about 50% longer, I believe. So probably 3 or 4 hours for this piece to print. So I'll say, so another thing you have to make sure I have is 33% infill for 0.1 millimeters. I'm going to increase the top and bottom layers. The perimeter remains 3. Let's click OK. Time to print. Select all. Click. Okay, right here, it says 3 hours and 56 minutes. So it's 4 hours, but every 4 hours I usually add 1 hour to it. So it's going to be about 5 hours to print. Because with the CR10, if I was using my other printer, it would actually be done in 3 hours. My Delta, but as I said before, it's down right now, both of them. So unfortunately, unfortunately, I can't use that printer. I can't make a time lapse of it. I will once it's working again. So let's see. Let's go ahead and I'm not saving it yet. As I was saying earlier, let's see if I can reduce that time by going to the support option and saying combine support material every 3 layers. Let's see what that does. Only shaved off like 8 minutes. 5 minutes. I think it was 58, right? So what, 6 minutes? So you guys see here, this is what it looks like in the slicing software. All right, it shows me the time on the left right here, the left side right here in the column. I could save it to a disk or a SD card, or I could print over USB. But this is what it looks like. I always put a little, it's not a rim. What is it called? The skirts? I forgot what it's called. That's what I put just to ensure that it just ensure there's actual filament being printed out rather than nothing. It's a nightmare when nothing's printing initially. So yeah, that's perfect. This is what I'll probably do actually right after I'm done with the little celebration, little birthday party celebration thing, and yeah. So yeah, material costs. I think that's approximately cost of materials like $1, I think. But remember, it takes a while, and ideally, I'm told that what you want to do is you want to charge people essentially $3 an hour for using your printer. Essentially, what it is due to wear and tear is what I've heard. So what would be like $15? Wear and tear, clean up. So it really depends. That's what I heard. It depends entirely though. And resolution, that's another thing. The resolution of the print. So it could be like $15 plus the $1 of material, followed by the cleanup. Oh yeah, this came out. This is gonna look nice. I'll take a picture, probably upload it to Instagram, that kind of stuff. But yeah, let's go back here. All right, yeah, that's about an hour or so. So it took an hour to pretty much do all that, kind of trim it, show kind of the whole overall process of just making this little thing right here. It took about, not the whole, this is just the process to make something 3D printable in this small scale. All right, it usually can take longer, depending on how complex it is. Lucky for me, I just gotten a lot better at it. I kind of know how to kind of group and separates, but no, it looks great. I love it. I'm loving it. Well, I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys listen to what I said earlier. It'd be great to hear some inputs about what you guys would like to see, or what's your thoughts about it, on what, if you want to buy, or I'm open to idea suggestions. I kind of don't want to sell the digital model itself. As I said before, people kind of abuse it. I don't want to have to deal with that. All right, so it looks great. I can't wait to include in the person that just recently bought a made piece from me from Avatar the Last Airbender, and someone that bought Iroh from me. There's 2 people that bought it from me these last couple of days. So I'm printing it and cleaning up right now, and I'm going to include an Aang or an Iroh bust, probably an Aang bust, and say thanks. Aang says thanks. So I thought that'd be kind of cool. Something they won't expect. Alright, so I think that pretty much wraps up. Thanks for watching or listening to me, as I said before. Give me some ideas of the Patreon, or if you guys would be interested in buying the digital model or buying the piece itself. But if it's a digital model, I will expect almost the same price for as if you bought a 3D print, so keep that in mind. I'm open to suggestions, alright? Also, I plan on making some Dota stuff as well. And with this new printer, I'm really happy. I'll be able to make stuff faster and better. Alright, cool. Thanks, guys. Yeah. So I'm taking forever to find this. Okay, there it goes. Alright. Until next time, guys. Maybe later tonight, and maybe about 2-3 hours.